for bus terminal design for me, I'm not really an expert on bus terminal. Like from the most like common sense point of view is really kind of how we maneuver or how much buses we can put into um, the building, the bus terminal building. Okay. And this is a PDF. I'll share it with you guys. I found earlier today. It has, let me see here. Where was that image? Down here. This is more for like public bus stops, but it will show you some things that weren't discussed, like the tail swing of the bus, the front overhang, how the bus sort of parallel parks. There was a rotunda image here. Okay. So it clearly shows you, because it's hard to imagine, my God, how big the bus and how it turns. It doesn't turn like a car, obviously, because it's a lot bigger. So notice the wheels as the turn happens. So we're coming from the bottom here and we turn right. Notice the bus can't really turn at a hairpin and how much space they need over there. So let me see here. This is like a bus roundabout design. There's some dimensions over here. Ideally, roundabouts on bus routes should be designed such that buses are not required to traverse or overhang any part of the vehicle, any part of the device, central islands, median islands, and splitter islands, or intersection corners. So basically, because the bus has like a longer front and a longer rear, rotunda should be designed in a way that it should accommodate the whole bus and nothing gets sort of stuck. So the dimensions are here. That's how the bus moves. So yeah. And then this is for like your passageway. Typically, Sydney, this is from like Sydney bus infrastructure guidelines. They're allowing for 3.5 sort of passageway for one bus. And you can even go as low as 3.2. I think that's the lowest they can go. Also, we didn't really get much description on like bus clearance when there's like a hump or some kind of slope. Notice over here that because the bus has also a deeper sort of carriage, you have to be careful of the slope on your kanang. If you're gonna have any kind of like speed humps, I don't think anyone will do like a multi-level parking for the bus. Okay, speed cushions, not so much. Chicanes, we like talked about that a bit last Wednesday. So vertical geometry and clearance. So this will be a more detailed sort of drawing of the bus. On the front, it has like a front clearance of around 220 mm, center clearance of 190, rear clearance of 200. So the front clearance is slightly taller than the rear clearance. Wheelbase is at like 6,750. The front is about 2,650 and the rear is about 3,100. So this is for a standard length 12.5 meter bus. And then over here is a long rigid bus. I don't think we have a lot of these in the Philippines, and the articulated bus, definitely we don't have these. And then I think there was one diagram I think I skipped on the entrances of the bus. Typically in the Philippines, we're used to a bus with only one entrance. But you might want to design for like a bus with two entrances over here. So I think the buses in the Philippines are way smaller than sort of the international buses. So the standard bus at 12.5 meters length has doors on what do you call this? At 2 meters from the front and about like 8 meters from the front, 6 to 8, and then 0 to 2. The long rigid bus has around the same sort of positioning. Articulated bus longer, and the 3-door articulated bus obviously has 3 doors. So this will be good information for you, especially planning out the experience of how people get onto the bus. Okay, and then speaking of getting onto the bus, let me close these like sun path diagrams. So if you want this is also a quick, sort of just a basic drop desk. And then this is a diagram of, let me save this for future reference. So the azimuth is where the sun is like in relation to like north, or I don't know why this is sometimes from the south. Oh, sorry. It's probably because like it starts either from the south or from the north, depending on the coordinates given. Okay, so we don't need that. Longitude. Attitude, don't need that. Don't need that. I had a thing open. Where did it go? Anyway, yes. So this is a bus station in Sydney. Notice it's a cantilever roof. Between cantilever roof and the cantilever floor, obviously the roof is easier to build because it's not supporting any kind of load above it. So your foundation doesn't need to be as big. And when we talked about like signages and bus terminals, we can also like sort of use this bus stop as a reference. Notice the height of the signage, it's eye level, and sort of the higher signages like above level and like taller than people would usually have like larger text because it's meant to be seen from further away. And then notice the tactile, what they call this flooring to indicate that this is like the bus stop for people who are visually impaired. And then pretty much the flooring is consistent all throughout, except for the part where the bus is supposed to stop. Notice the railings as well, double handrail. And then I think that's pretty much it. It's pretty open. One sort of thing that I noticed that this bus stop doesn't really do, it doesn't protect you from the sun as much. So notice the people are standing back here and the sort of roof is not really providing any kind of shading at all at the bus stop. But I think they want the sun to come in. This looks like early morning, and people want to get like, especially the native Australians, not really native Australians, the Caucasians want more sun. In the Philippines, I don't think we want to do this. So that's why I'm very careful about your roof eaves, making sure that the people waiting for the bus are comfortable. And if I sort of figure out that your roof eaves are not enough to shade the people inside, that will count as a deduction on your design. So that's really like what I want to be like super careful with, especially for the bus terminal. Okay, what other things do I have here? Um, Parking areas, already discussed that. Over here, that and that. Material usage. I think I had that's all for me. What else? Let me see here. I wanted to talk more about cantilevers, but we already have discussed that in length last time. What other things? Let's open up the design problem. Let's terminal. See, Let's look at the required spaces again. So let's see, bus parking area for 20 buses, departure bay and arrival bay. So they can be in the same space, but there has to be a clear separation so the people who arrive don't get, or who are going to the bus terminal don't get confused. Now, whether they are at the departure bay or the arrival bay, departure meaning leaving the bus station, arrival meaning coming into the bus station. Taxi and private vehicle arrival, I think the word taxis coming into the bus stop and like private vehicles coming into the bus stop need to have drop off areas. Sorry, my throat is dry. The foyer, basically a sort of lounge area. Passenger information center, I think that like everyone understands that. E-ticketing area, probably near or like within the information center. Ancillary functions, ATM machines, I think everyone knows that. Waiting area, so this will be the place where people are like carrying their bags or like carrying their stuff. The place directly next to the bus parking. Drinking stations, toilets, lactating stations, so like additional sort of services in the like toilet areas. Retail and concession spaces, usually you won't want this like near the entrance or maybe sometimes even near the waiting areas of the bus. That depends on you. The information system, again, sort of kind of connected to the information center. Maybe like someone like asking where the actual bus stops are, like the destination, something like that. So terminal staff, they need an admin office similar to a hotel. The admin office handles like the whole operation. The basically the manager or the head of the bus terminal is using this office. Cashier's office, they handle the money. Lockers with toilets, so staff need to change into their uniforms. Currently in the Philippines, I don't think we really have some kind of uniform system. Security office with control room, this should be near the admin office. Public relations officer, again, like near the office. Pantry and canteen drinking stations can be further away from the office. Areas for bus conductors and staff, closer to the parking areas, not really needed to be near the office. Maintenance room, closer to the buses, I would say. But if you find research that says otherwise, please go ahead. Lockers and toilet, again, for the terminal staff. Um, this is different from, wait, didn't we, oh, that's a typo, sorry. Pantry, that's a typo. Resting, waiting area, I think for the terminal staff, like waiting to get to work, I don't know. I think I was very tired with that. I didn't check. Let's see here. Um, Site analysis, site development plan, traffic analysis. So similar to what we did with the hotel plate, please highlight the pathways. Um, for vehicles, we could like maybe highlight it with an arrow. For people walking, just maybe like dotted lines. So I'm expecting something like this. Um, a traffic analysis plan architecture. Let's see. Nope, nope, not that one. I think I saw an image for this. Do. Can't find it. Standards or design. Okay, maybe this one. They have the pathways here. I don't think so. Anyway, so I'll just draw it on paint. So by pathways, I mean like for vehicles, let's try to use like arrows, maybe different arrows for arrival and different arrows for departure. And then for pedestrians, we can do like dotted lines instead. So that will be the pedestrian path, and then some other like symbology if you want. Okay, wait, still loading for some reason. Next, we have standard for elevation, blah, 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 mechanical. You guys already know that. Water supply, plumbing, wastewater, maybe also including some air conditioning systems if you want. Electrical plans. So we're looking at your lighting, your power. Good thing like our sustainable group discussed on that very completely. I would say plumbing layout. You guys already know that. Structural design and analysis. You guys already know that. Okay. So any questions so far with the plate? Wala na? Or loading? What other things? Anyway, let's talk about the schematic phase. Okay, close. I'll just put the new slide here. Schematic design, some guidelines. I'll put this into our canvas. So introduce your concept for the design, because we had a more general research process this time around. You need to show your bubble diagrams and maybe show some massing too, because like it's 2 weeks. Show massing. Take note of let's say solar axis, basically the shading, and then the ventilation. So you would want, depending on your design, it's really up to you. You would want more or less depending on how you configure your bus station. What else? Yeah, simple or draft dash draft vehicle and pedestrian uh, traffic diagram. That's all. And we'll just focus on floor plans or like draft floor plans. How do I say this? Not the actual floor plans, but the schematic floor plans. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's go back here. And really take note of the orientation of your building. So for example, this is June summer at in the afternoon. So if you orient your building, let's say 30 degrees from north, something like that, notice that there is more sun coming into your building. But what if we just close this wall over here? Closing this wall over here. Not as much sun. If you have the sort of actually, I need to move this to the center because I'm off center now. And the model only works like if you're at the center. So I'll move this to the center. Then let's see if we rotate it east-west. So in the afternoon, when your when your opening is closed in the west, really nothing comes in, as we all know. And then east like that. So that's how much sun is coming in. And then let me like just my throat. I need water. So checking out the sun movement from sunrise to sunset, coming in from the right, sunset at the west. So notice that early morning, let's say like this is like 6 a.m. about ish. A lot of sun is coming in. This is with the 45 sort of centimeter eaves. But at noon, not so much a problem. And then in the afternoon, let's say around like 3 p.m., this is probably like the most people, let's say 5 p.m., something like this. For summer, it will be an issue because it get really hot. In the morning, I don't think people mind the morning sun that much. In fact, I think the morning sun is very healthy. Not very healthy, but it's good for your health. In the noon, no, not so much problem as long as you have slabs or like a roof, because the sun is pretty much on top already. It's just how do you get people to your bus station from the entrance? So you need some kind of covered passageway. And then the afternoon sun is really where you need to be worried about, like your western and southwestern area of your site needs to be properly covered from the sun. And then let's just check out the December situation. So in December, the afternoon sun is even at a lower angle, so there's more exposure on the western side. In the morning sun, yeah, it comes in even more. So in December, the angle of the sun and the angle of elevation is lower, so there's more like exposure on the on your like what do you call this, bus terminal. So this is where the 45-degree sort of roof eaves doesn't really function. It's good for rain, but not so much for sun. So that's something that you need to figure out. I'll also like think about ways that I can help you guys with this. But for now, just like think about that. Like the 45 degrees is good for rain. Not 45 degrees. The 45 0.45 mm roof eaves is good for rain, but not so much for sun. So maybe you would want to do the like what they call this double facade, but I really wouldn't recommend it unless you really figure out like how much it is to build and how much energy you're actually saving, like in terms of um, air conditioning and like cooling the space. So I think a better way would be, so you don't have to extend the eaves, maybe lower your um, window height, but then that comes at the cost of reducing the visibility from the outside. Like if you basically no windows in December because a lot of sun is coming in. And maybe if you have, let's say, a something like this, and then you have it go up like 0.9. So not so much. It's because the sun is coming in from the other end. Let's say you have a wall on this side of your building. Sun is like a lot more manageable. But let's say your building is longer. Let's say this one is currently at just 6 meters. Let's say you have a building of about 20 meters long because the site is very big. Let's say 20 meters. Okay, come on. 20. Looks more this more this looks more like the section of a bus station. And then let me push this out. Also, the length of your building will be an issue as well. Notice here in the corner where it's further away, not so much sun is coming in. And this is December morning. And then let's look at December afternoon. Oh, it's because I don't have anything on this side. Let me copy paste this here. Let's see, 0.15 wall with a zero point 0.8 elevation, and like a extrusion, 0.9, sorry. Then let's copy this here again, 0.6, a sort of extrusion, 0.15 wall, 0.15 with a 0.6 extrusion, meaning our windows are 1.2 meters height. One, drag. There we go, 0.6. And of course, this isn't your actual bus terminal, but you can already see the effect of having a not full glass facade. So this might be beneficial for your like what do you call this? Temperature control inside your building. So you don't want it to get too hot because that's really the main problem in the Philippines. So you might want to reduce your glass facades. Okay, let's see here. What else? What else? What else? What else? I think that's pretty much everything. This document is pretty comprehensive for sort of strong wind and rain, but not so much the sun. So you really can't have it like, it's really a tough balancing act to have a building that's sheltered from rain, wind, and sun. If you have more sun, you might be more exposed to strong winds. If you're like just focusing on the rain, you might be exposed to like more sun. So that's really up to you. How do you sort of figure that out? What is the goal of your design? Okay, I think that's all I can discuss. Any other questions? Anything that comes to mind before we break for the week? We have one more meeting on Monday, I think, and then after that it's Holy Week. So I just want to discuss everything now, so not you guys won't be, as engineer Seno would say, hard up when you're doing your actual design. Anything? Anything? 0.6. Wala na, Jud? Okay na mo? Okay, we can end the meeting here.
Two schemes or gyapon?
Sorry?
Do we still have to do two schemes only?
Yes, I think we'll have to do the two schemes, um, at least just for the planning. So let me share my screen again. Good question. Okay. So the reason why we do two schemes, introduce the concept of your design, the two schemes, that you're not so married to one idea, bitaw. Okay, in actual practice, more often than not, your first proposal, maybe even your 10th proposal, will have revisions. So we can't really do that in school because we don't have the time to make you guys do all the revisions realistically. Schematic design. So two revisions at least, two schemes, sorry. Because like again, in actual practice, when you really do like architectural work, within a span of 2 months, you might have like more than 10 revisions or something like that. And then when you're actually constructing with the client that you pass the schematic design phase, you're already in the working drawing phase, there will still be changes to your design. And then even when you're constructing the building, there's also changes. So the reason why we have two schemes here is just to prepare you for that. I think also in the design development phase, we're also like doing a lot of revisions because I'm like checking you guys every step of the way. Okay, anything else? We will have two massing concepts. Um, Ideally, because we have two schemes, what do you call this? Or maybe you can have the same massing concept. Depends on what your actual concept is. So I would like put that on depends on your concept. Right? For example, your concept is really focused on sustainability. So you're going to be studying how the spatial planning affects where you need to have shading and where you need to have access to ventilation and where you need to have protection from rain. And then you could also focus on mobility. So definitely you can say na one of the biggest problems in the Philippines is getting to somewhere na dili ka mabasa or dili ka mainitan. So you will have more sort of shading devices, like from all the way from the drop off to the bus waiting area, so something like that. So it will depend on your concept now. But if ideally, I would prefer like as many exploration or like schemes as possible, so that we can really create a good design. Hmm. Anything else? Let's see.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So we don't need to tackle all the topics that every group has
No, no,
discussed.
no. So those that was just an opener, like possible topics that you might want to consider. But ideally, your building should be safe. Your building should have universal design included, so PWDs can access it. Your building should be sustainable, and your building should also be what was the other one? Have rational structural design. So if you're gonna have like cantilevers, make sure the cantilevers work. If you're gonna have traditional post and lintel, then that's fine. But like you sacrifice the sort of the art part of architecture. So if you're just gonna have a box, it's gonna look very boring. So make sure your box is interesting. Maybe you can focus more on sustainability, etc. Vanessa's question is our consultation on Monday required, sir? Like with the time slots on Monday, I think it'll be optional because I'm sure you'll be starting to draw. This is just for anyone who has like any more questions on Monday. I think that's all for Monday. It won't be like a required thing. You can't produce anything over the weekend, I don't think. So for any like further advice, Monday is like our last meeting before Holy Week. I'm just like concerned because like sometimes with these long holidays we have what do you call this? The temptation to not do anything is very strong. Okay, I also need to upload our videos as well. So I'll stop recording here. Seems like wala na kay questions.